Please subscribe.
The 2019 Jaguar E-Pace is really a typical issue. Following 80 years without SUV, Jaguar all of a sudden has two in its stable, and obviously they've turned into the brand's top-of-the-line models. The city-sized E-Pace hybrid SUV is alluring, upscale, and even fun in certain setups, justifying 6.2 in general on our scale. With a vast grille, cleared back headlights, and strong sheet metal, the 2019 E-Pace echoes different vehicles in the Jaguar lineup, extraordinary compared to other watching accumulations out there. A longish hood and inclining roofline recommend a back-wheel drive predisposition, however the E-Pace shrouds its front-wheel drive-based engineering cunningly. Inside, the plan is significantly less expressive, getting prompts from the F-Type sports vehicle at the end of the day, stressing straight lines and capacity over structure. Lamentably, a few materials feel shameful of an extravagance vehicle, and however the dashboard appears to be utilitarian. It's not as smooth to use as it could be given the brand's history mixing structure and capacity. Power is provided by a 2.0-liter turbo 4 offered in two distinct conditions of tune, 246 drive on the standard motor or 296 horsepower as an alternative. A 9-speed program transmission is the main gearbox. All-wheel drive is standard, however there are two unique structures. The higher controlled motor accompanies an Active Driveline framework acquired from the Range Rover Evoque, with which the E-Pace shares a stage, enabling this little Jag to rearrange power front to back and side to side voluntarily. This improves taking care of all together just as hold in tricky circumstances, even rough terrain somewhat. Talking about dealing with, the E-Pace utilizes its short wheelbase and intense powertrain pleasingly, offering difficult maneuver in, great street holding habits, and a sensibly agreeable ride. Power conveyance is satisfactory on the higher yield model, however the transmission regularly feels a stage behind. Regardless of its little impression, the E-Pace fits for grown-ups easily, superior to anything contenders like the Mercedes-Benz GLA Class and BMW X1, and could even be contrasted with bigger strange choices, for example, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. For 2019, the E-Pace gets a couple of little updates to its In-Control Touch Pro infotainment framework, including a discretionary smartphone pack that incorporates Apple CarPlay and Android Auto similarity. Two extra paint hues, Norfolk Black and Caldera Red, join the steady 2 and S models or more get new 20-inch wheels. The 2019 Jaguar E-Pace has not yet been accident-tried by the central government's NHTSA or the FRIAs. It oversees 24 miles per gallon joined in base arrangement and 23 miles per gallon joined with the more dominant motor. To the untrained eye, it might be hard to recognize a considerable lot of Jaguar's present models, however one thing is without a doubt, they all look great. Such is the situation with the city-sized 2019 Jaguar E-Pace, which utilizes sharp, etched searches for a groundbreaking initial introduction that is fairly double-crossed on second look by its flat inside. We give it 7 out of 10 for styling, with those focuses revolved around its outside. In spite of the fact that the E-Pace is generally tall among its aggressive set, etched lines wicked good on the body and flareable curves cut the visual load down, making for a smooth, lively-looking hybrid. A more drawn-out hood recommends sports vehicle-like elements, however the E-Pace is front-wheel drive based like its Range Rover Evoque can. A higher, decreased backside yields a forward inclining profile, similar to a major feline prepared to jump. You know, similar to a Puma or something. Higher trim aerodynamic models turn up the visual energy with up to 20-inch haggles forceful styling highlights. Inside, the E-Pace echoes the F-Type sports vehicle with a driver-driven cockpit structure, however some trashy plastics and different materials make this extravagance hybrid feel less rich than different contenders. Combined with exhausting lines and an absence of one-of-a-kind subtleties, the E-Pace feels less unique inside than it is to take a gander at. The 2019 Jaguar E-Pace addresses whether hybrid SUVs consistently need to accompany a taking care of trade-off. Shockingly, its powertrain choices come up short, justifying a 6 out of 10 rating. A 2.0-liter Turbo 4 is the main motor choice, however is accessible in two unique conditions of tune. Base, P250, models get 246 torque while our dynamic, P300, E-Paces put out 296 horsepower, and as you may have envisioned, the more dominant motor is the one you need. In contrast to different contenders, all-wheel drive is standard. The E-Pace utilizes two distinct frameworks to convey capacity to every one of the four corners. The base framework works out a 50-50 power split front to race, yet the R-dynamic framework in the P300 can vector torque to any wheel autonomously, giving extraordinary grasp during energetic driving or in elusive circumstances. The main transmission accessible is a 9-speed program that, notwithstanding its high rigging check, feels drowsy and to some degree unrivaled to the motor when pushed. Indeed, even on 20-inch wheels, the ride is agreeable uncreated and the lodge is calm, an appreciated element as the Turbo 4 has a rough fumes note that is better left unheard. Controlling his light yet turn-in is immediate, and taking care of is shockingly spry, coordinating even some lower-through minimal extravagance cars' inability. In spite of its sultry sheet metal, the 2019 Jaguar E-Pace utilizes its restricted measurements for inside space, however a few materials fail to impress anyone. We give it 7 out of 10 for quality. In spite of the fact that it contends with the littlest extravagance hybrid SUVs out there, the E-Pace is quite bigger, wrapping the measurements and feel of the Land Rover Discovery Sport in a sleeker shape. On account of a transverse motor and front-wheel drive design, the Lodge is shockingly enormous for a little SUV, notwithstanding for taller tenants in advance. The back seat can get somewhat confined, however within excess of 35 crawls of legroom, two grown-ups should fit serenely for longer time frames. Freight space is sufficient as well, with 24.2 feet of room behind the back seat and an excess of 52 blocks within collapsed level. That is 7.29 more cubic feet than the Mercedes-Benz GLA class, for correlation. Indeed, even stacked to the gills, the E-Pace fails to impress anyone in the material quality division, including hard plastics and deadened subtleties in numerous spots that are all the more befitting of a harsh and tumble Land Rover than a Jag. Differentiating sewing and hues on the R-dynamic trim assistance turn up to the interest, however Jaguar's downplayed inside plan language is doing the E-Pace no favors here. Neither the Nissan nor the US has appraised the 2019 Jaguar E-Pace, nor some other Jag, so far as that is concerned, for crashworthiness, so we can't give it a rating. With 6 airbags as standard just as forward crash alerts, programmed crisis braking, and vulnerable side screens on most trims, the E-Pace includes most current well-being tech. An Encompass C camera, stopping sensors, and a forward-mounted camera to see around deterred crossing points are accessible, just as cutting-edge highlights, for example, versatile voyage control. The 2019 Jaguar E-Pace depends vigorously on its hopes to attract purchasers, as a high base cost and costly upper trims discredit the incentive rapidly. In that capacity, we give it 7 out of 10, with focuses for its hard-def alternatives and a major infotainment screen. Base E-Pace models get 17-inch wheels, material seats, keyless start, a rear-view camera, LED headlights, double-zone atmosphere control, and a 10.0-inch touchscreen infotainment framework that has been refreshed for the current year to incorporate Apple CarPlay and Android Auto similarity as a major aspect of a discretionary smartphone pack, and one almost every E-Pace to set wheels in the US is probably going to have. Bluetooth availability is standard, just as USB ports in advance. That is all not bad, but at the same time not enough to blow anyone's mind among minimal extravagance hybrids, yet the E-Pace is about $40,000 base cost is altogether higher than certain contenders. A 5-year/60,000 mile guarantee is tempting, however, particularly considering Jaguar's not exactly excellent dependability notoriety. Obviously, the base E-Pace isn't the one you truly need, and as, say, HSE and R-Dynamic models get expensive quick, moving over $53,000 for the top-level R-Dynamic HSE model. S trims get 18-inch wheels, control movable front seats, calfskin upholstery, and stopping sensors, while say adaptations get 19-inch compound wheels, a power backhand, premium sound, and extra propelled well-being highlights, for example, versatile voyage control. The range-besting R-Dynamic HSE gets 20-inch wheels, redesigned calfskin, a movement-enacted backhand, head-up presentation, and customizable reinforces and thigh backing to oblige its all the more dominant motor. Lively structure subtleties join R-design models too, including passed-out admissions and mirrors and differentiating sewing in the inside. In the same way as other of its peers, the 2019 Jaguar E-Pace oversees not too bad, yet not extraordinary, mileage from its turbocharged motors. We give it 4 out of 10 appropriately. The EPA rates both the less and all the more dominant variants of the E-Pace likewise, with the slight punishment for the 296 torque condition. The standard 9-speed program transmission helps on the expressway, yet all-wheel drive hampers numbers to some degree. The less groundbreaking E-Pace gets 21 miles per gallon city, 28 throughway, and 24 joint, while the more dominant R-Dynamic model oversees 21/27 23 mile per gallon. Premium fuel is required for the two models. A few contenders top 30 miles per gallon on the parkway even with all-wheel drive.